Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something wild, a source document called the Valorant script. It's kind of mind-blowing because it operates on two totally different levels. On the surface, it reads like this deep, cinematic critique of modern loneliness and how social media has absolutely fractured human connection. But when we look a little closer, it's actually something else entirely, a mechanical, step-by-step blueprint for churning out viral AI content. It's a massive contradiction, and honestly, I can't wait to unpack it with you.
Okay, let's dive into this by looking at the script's opening thesis. It sets up this huge modern paradox. Think about it. We have smartphones, global internet access, and apps connecting us 24/7. Technically, we've never had more tools to talk to each other. But the text points out that this hasn't actually brought us closer. In fact, it argues the exact opposite, that friendships feel totally disposable now, and people have literally never felt more emotionally distant. Which brings us to part one, the attention economy. The core argument here is that these social media apps aren't just accidents, they're intentionally designed systems. Every single swipe, every little red notification, it's all engineered to keep our brains trapped in an endless dopamine loop. And the script argues that as our brains get used to this constant, rapid-fire stimulation, we actually lose the ability to just be present. Silence gets awkward, patience basically vanishes. The document makes this super powerful distinction. People don't experience moments anymore. Instead, they simply consume them. You know the feeling. Someone's sitting right across from you, but their brain is a million miles away just waiting for that next digital hit.
So moving right along to part two, performative identity.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the text talks about our sense of self. It argues that in today's digital world, we aren't just living our lives quietly anymore, we're performing them. It introduces this idea of the curated personality. Basically, it's a version of yourself built entirely for an online audience. It's a perfectly manicured projection of your lifestyle. I mean, think about it. How much of what we post is just a carefully constructed aesthetic? The real danger, the document says, is when people start confusing this online attention with their actual self-worth. Validation essentially becomes a very real addiction. And that addiction completely throws everything out of balance. The script notes how likes suddenly feel like genuine personal approval. View counts start to feel like a metric for how important you are to society. Any form of attention basically equals human value. And here's the real kicker. The text argues that even being authentic has just become another aesthetic to perform online. It claims all of this creates this crushing pressure to constantly prove you're happy and successful, to the point where, eventually, people slowly stop feeling real. That naturally bleeds into part three, disposable relationships. So how does this mindset affect our real-world connections? Well, the text points directly at dating apps and social media, arguing they create this massive illusion of endless options. It's that nagging feeling that someone slightly better, or maybe just a little more interesting, is always just one swipe away. Because of this illusion, the document asserts that people have become incredibly easy to replace. It triggers a vicious cycle. People ghost faster, they emotionally detach way faster, and they just move on without a second thought. The script argues our overall emotional patience has severely decreased, which makes true long-term commitment so much harder to pull off. And that leads to this really fascinating, almost tragic psychological tension. The source concludes we've got an entire generation trapped between two opposing forces. On one hand, desperately craving real intimacy, but on the other hand, being absolutely terrified of actual vulnerability. So, what we're left with is a population of emotionally disconnected individuals trying super hard to feel connected, but only through the safety of a glowing screen.
Now for part four, loneliness is everywhere.
This gets right to the central paradox of the whole document. Digital connection is literally at an all-time peak in human history, right? Yet reported loneliness just keeps skyrocketing. So why? The text draws a really sharp line here between access and presence. Yes, sure, we have unprecedented digital access to billions of people, but true human connection requires presence. We're talking sustained eye contact, active listening, the ability to sit in silence, and raw emotion. Think about your own group chats for a second. Are you actually connecting or just swapping information? Social media has turned interaction into constant stimulation. The main takeaway from the script here is that content, no matter how engaging it is, can never replace a genuine human bond. So, the crucial point is coming up right here in part five, the meta twist, also known as the AI blueprint. Everything we've covered so far, that's only half the story. This is where the source document takes a massive, head-spinning meta twist. After laying out this really profound philosophical critique of emotional disconnection, the document just completely shifts gears. It reveals itself to be an explicit, mechanical template for mass-producing the exact kind of viral content it was just complaining about. The text abruptly drops instructions for an ultra-easy version, designed to make a video look deep and cinematic without actually putting in any real effort. The irony is just staggering. It criticizes social media for destroying authentic human effort, and then immediately hands you a cheat code to automate human emotion? Let's move to and see how this builds, because the document literally breaks this down into a paint-by-numbers process. Step 1, don't even bother recording your own voice, just paste the script into an AI text-to-speech generator. Step 2, go download a handful of generic, sad-looking stock clips of lonely cities from a free site. Step 3, dump the whole thing into an automated editor like CapCut. I mean, it is a fully mechanized process for generating feelings. And the instructions for the editing are incredibly rigid. The creator is told exactly which automated aesthetics to use. Slap on some auto captions, throw on a moody black and white filter, add some slow zooms, and use basic fade transitions. The source is super direct here. It specifically commands the user not to overthink it. Just apply the formula and export the sadness. And why do all this? Because the document pragmatically explains that the goal of this video isn't actually to cure human loneliness. The goal is audience retention. The script explicitly tells the creator that this emotionally heavy cinematic piece is ultimately just a calculated tool. It's a way to test the algorithm, find a profitable niche, and build digital momentum. It is engaging in the exact kind of attention-seeking behavior that its own dialogue warns us about. Yet, despite knowing the cynical, automated origins of this document, you kind of have to admit that the dialogue still lands a punch. The source text wraps up its cinematic narrative with this really poignant conclusion. Maybe social media didn't destroy connection overnight, it just slowly replaced it, one scroll at a time. It's a genuinely powerful message, even if it was written to be read by a robot voiceover stock footage. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate tension we're left to consider. Is our understanding of true, authentic connection being slowly replaced, not just by our scrolling habits, but by the very content we consume? Content that might just be copy-pasted, AI-generated blueprints masquerading as human empathy. It's a totally fascinating paradox. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the media you consume.